Hi everyone, I'm Nolene Hammond-Jones. I'm the International Careers Manager here at Lancaster University Management School, and I work with the Central Careers team on international careers for international and EU students. So I work with about 600 employers worldwide, and I work with our international students from across the world. So if you're joining us from Lancaster, Ghana, Malaysia, Germany and China, welcome. Today's session, I will share my slides now, will be on prepare for the fair. So regardless of which fair you're going to, because there are a number of fairs that happen across the campus and globally, whether they be in person or online, this session is to help you understand how to get the best out of a fair. I'm going to be concentrating on the autumn fair that's happening here in Lancaster, but this information can be applied to any fair that you plan to attend going forward. If there is external noise, there is building work happening on campus here in Lancaster, lots of drilling, and there's a building outside, so I do apologize in advance, but I'll try and make this as clear as possible for everybody. So today's session is, as I said, going to concentrate on the autumn fair. I'm going to highlight that to you today. I'm going to talk you through a bit about that. But essentially what the majority of the session will cover is how you can make the most of your time at a fair, excuse me, and how you can engage with employers in an effective way. So the autumn fair is happening here at Lancaster on the 26th of October. It's going to happen in the LICA building, that's LICA. We have over 80 employers at the moment. I think it's closer to 90 now attending the event. And a lot of those employers are from the Times Top 100 graduate recruiters. So if you are aiming to work for a big international firm or one of the Times Top 100, then the fair is a perfect opportunity for you to attend. In addition to that, we have, it's one of the best ways to find opportunities in your chosen career. You get to meet the employers, get a bit of an understanding about who the employers are, but also there are opportunities around graduate work, work experience, internships, and there is also the opportunity, some universities will be there to look at postgraduate education as well. So online vacancies linked to this event can be found on Careers Connect, which is your vacancy and event platform for all Lancaster students. You can access Careers Connect online, and I'll share that with you in a bit, how you can do that. So the autumn fair takes place, as I said, on the 26th of October. You can find out more about the fair if you follow the Instagram account at Lancs Careers, but also you can see more information on Careers Connect. So you can see lancaster.ac.uk/Careers Connect, or just Google Careers Connect Lancaster University, and it'll bring you to Careers Connect, where you log in with your university logins. There will be an opportunity as well for other events that are happening. So tomorrow there's the placement and internship showcase. So that's going to take place online on Teams. You can register for that on Careers Connect. There's also, for those of you who might be interested in public sector roles, on the 18th of October, there is an online panel event. And then for anyone interested in data, cyber and emerging tech, there's a panel event on the 2nd of November, again on Teams. And for law, there is an event in the Learning Zone on campus in person on the 23rd of November. All of these events are on Careers Connect, and you can check them out now and register for the events. What I will say is, if you register for events, because all places are limited, if you are unable to attend the event, do cancel your place, because there will be other students who want to attend those events. So just be aware that if you sign up, please do attend, whether it's online or in person. There are always limited spaces, and we want good turnouts for sessions. So these are some of the employers that are coming on campus for the autumn fair. So you will see that there's some nice big name brands there, but also there will be other employers for you to engage with. It's a great opportunity to find out from the employers directly what they're looking for, if they can give you hints and tips, but it's a great opportunity to make a good first impression. These are some more employers that are going to be getting involved in the event, and they're going to be on campus or online. So it's a hybrid event. There will be opportunities for you to hear from some employers online who are unable to make it in person, but the majority of these employers will be on campus. So why should I attend the fair? And this is aimed at final year students and master's students primarily, but there is no harm in a first year and second year student going as well, because as I said before, there are work experience and internship opportunities and placement opportunities with a lot of these companies. So they're not just looking for those who are coming to the end of their studies. They're looking for students at all stages throughout your academic career. So the main reason to attend the fair is to meet and network with company representatives in person and make a good impression. So when you are making a good first impression, dress for the job that you want, firstly. I will say I'm not expecting you to wear a suit or a suit dress to the event. Wear comfortable clothes, but wear clothes that you would not mind going to a networking event in. So it's about making that good first impression. But also have a look on Careers Connect before the fair. Learn who are the companies that are coming and which of those companies are you interested in, because that research will help you to have really fruitful conversations with employers. The more research you do, the better position you're going to be in with the employer when asking questions and getting the most out of that fair. It's a great opportunity as well to explore possible career options. So I would say, obviously, have those companies of interest that you're really interested in, that really inspire you, that you're looking to join, but also think about those companies you know less about. Have conversations with those employers, because they may be somebody that you've not considered before or you've not heard of, and could be a really good career option for you. It's also at these fairs, there are also opportunities to potentially secure an interview. So some of these employers come with the intention of potentially fast tracking to interview there and then. I have seen employers have interviews on campus on the day of fairs with students who have really impressed them, and that can fast track their applications. So always be prepared, do your research before you go, so that if you are asked for an interview, that you are in a good position to answer those questions effectively. It's also a great opportunity to secure an internship or a graduate job. So it's a great way of being able to be in front of the recruiter, and sometimes, again, fast track opportunities exist. Finding out what employers are looking for from a range of companies, both national and international, is a great opportunity to maximize your application. So you can understand from the employer, what do you mean by what you're asking for in the job advert? What do you mean by teamwork? What can I do to demonstrate that skill to you? What are you looking for? And those conversations can help you to put together a very strong CV and an application. And it's a great chance for you to ask questions in person and online, because those questions, even though a lot of companies' careers pages, graduate careers pages, are quite extensive and well informed, they don't answer all of your questions. So it's an opportunity for you to get answers to your questions that you can't get online. And whether that's with the employer face-to-face or online in a hybrid fair or an online fair, it's good to ask questions. I held a session earlier on today, the welcome session, and I did say, if an employer asks you to put your cameras on, make sure that if you're going to these events, be prepared to have your camera on, because an employer holding a webinar or holding a discussion talk with potential employees where you can't see their faces, you can't see their reactions, it's really difficult. Also, you're not making, as a participant, you're not making any impression whatsoever. You are a black screen with your name on it. So it's really worth being prepared. So if you're attending these sessions and you haven't booked a room, or you're sharing a room and someone's going to be there, try and find a space where you can sit as quietly as possible. And there might be times where you're interrupted and you have to turn your camera off briefly. That's absolutely fine. But be prepared to have your camera on and be prepared to ask questions, because that makes a great impression. and build your awareness of the different sectors and what's on offer. So again, this is down to research. Research. It's so important. People research their next holiday more than they research their career. So it's important to know what's on offer. If you're looking, if you're studying human resources or business analytics, even computer science, the number of sectors you can work across is phenomenal. So understanding what those sectors are and what opportunities exist in those sectors and how you can apply is really important. And getting business cards from those in-person events can help you, because you can include this information on your covering letter. On your covering letter, your first paragraph is why that company or why that role. And it might be that, you know, you met such and such, who's the graduate recruiter at the Lancaster University Autumn Fair, who was very inspiring and gave you such a great insight into the organizational culture, particularly X, Y, and Z, whatever that may be. That shows you're motivated, because it demonstrates to the employer not only are you applying for the role, but you've made the effort to meet the recruiter face to face, and you've made an impression, and you have their contact details. And if you can't get a business card, try and get the recruiter's name and make a note of that name. So again, you can refer to them on any applications that you have. And I mean, obviously raises your visibility with these recruiters, you know, because you have made that effort, you've done the research, and you've made a good first impression. And I would also say, before the career fair, know your objectives. What do you want to achieve by going to the fair? And be prepared to speak to the recruiters. It's not a case of just going in and getting that nice, you know, free pen, free mug, free whatever it is. And don't get me wrong, I like the freebies, but have an objective, be prepared to speak to the recruiter. And the freebie could be a great opening, you know, oh, wow, I love the branding on these mugs. That's really good. How long have you worked for EY? How long have you worked for Hilti? How long have you worked for Bank of China? Whatever it may be. And that can be a great opening for those conversations. And know your skills and strengths, and think of examples to demonstrate those skills. So if the recruiter says, we're really looking for people who can demonstrate creativity and teamwork, you can say, well, actually, recently I was involved in a project through my program, which meant that I had to create marketing materials or information, or I did something as part of my society, or I did something as part of my club, which demonstrates those skills. So have an idea of some of your strengths and be able to give examples of those if asked face to face at the fair. And it's no harm in having a copy of your CV. Covering letter is optional, but you can have a copy of your CV with you. And if you've done the work to put your CV together, please make sure you have a LinkedIn profile, because employers will look for you online, and LinkedIn is important to have that presence. And you've already done the hard work by creating that CV. Practice your answers to the following questions. So, what are you looking for at the job fair? Or tell me a little bit about yourself, which I know a lot of people hate. Or why are you interested in our company? What is it about our organization? And that's why the research is important. You know, you could say it's because you're partnering with a sustainable organization, and I find that initiative really interesting and very current. And also, what makes you a good fit for this position? Why would you be a good fit for our company? And again, you can cite your strengths and examples of your skills. So it's important to have those answers ready. Now, not every recruiter is going to ask you these questions, and possibly very few will, and they'll be having more of a chat with you, but it's always worth having the answers to these questions prepared just in case. Research companies. Research is going to be something I am going to tell you for the next however many years I'm going to be running these events. Research companies. Know which companies are attending the fairs. That's the link, but also the QR code to the careers fair pages, where you can find out about the companies that are coming. Research the companies by looking on the company websites, you know, networks, reach out to friends, family, peers, former colleagues. You know, are they working there? Have a look on LinkedIn. Do you know anybody working at that organization? Glassdoor.co.uk is a really good resource. If you're looking for companies overseas, it's glassdoor.com. And prospects.ac.uk is also a very good research tool. Obviously, Google them. Have a look. What are they doing now? Are they doing anything new, anything innovative, anything creative, anything that stands out? Has something happened recently in the sector that has had an impact on the organization? Make sure you have enough information that you can have a good conversation with that recruiter. And maintain the right attitude. And what I mean by this is be polite when you approach the stand and introduce yourself. And it's important to be polite. Don't be overly, be, you know, hi, how are you? Great to meet you. If the recruiter is rushed, if they're busy, don't interrupt them when they're having a conversation with somebody, and make sure that you wait your turn politely. If somebody in front of you is taking the time, or, you know, your attitude, your behavior, your facial expressions, your body language, all of this is being watched by the recruiter. So, you know, just be patient, be polite, keep a smile on that face, and be conscientious when taking those freebies. You know, don't just take the freebies and run. Have a conversation, ask for more information, ask something, because again, you want to make a good impression. And not all companies will have immediate openings. So some might be opening up opportunities in the next few weeks, or they're building up their visibility with students for the coming months. So be aware that they're not all immediately hiring. Most will. About 95% of the companies will be looking for, and by immediate hires, I mean immediate as in starting summer to September next year. And don't ask, what jobs do you have for me? Because they don't know you and they don't know anything about you, your background. And it's one of those really bizarre open-ended questions. It's, I've researched your organization and I have some questions about your graduate program, or I have some questions about your placement program, or I have some questions about your internships. They're not your servant. They're not there to be at your beck and call to give you jobs. They are there to answer questions, be a source of information, but also to be a good professional networker. So it's important for you to have good questions to hand. And keep an open mind to organizations. Some opportunities may surprise you. You may not have considered, for instance, a specific sector because it's not something, so for instance, HR in the manufacturing sector. It's not something that you considered before. So do try and keep an open mind and see what these companies' opportunities are, see what the company culture is like, and have conversations, get as much information as you can. Take notes as well is a really good way. Don't record or ask to record a recruiter. It's very awkward, and not many of them will be happy being recorded. And you're not going to have a fruitful conversation because they're going to be concentrating on what they're saying, so much so that they may not tell you everything. So it's a case of try to be natural and don't over make the employer feel awkward in any way by asking, you know, inappropriate questions such as, can I record you while I ask you questions? Take notes, bring a pen, bring paper, or take notes on your laptop, or take notes on your tablet or your phone. And view a career fair as a networking information gathering event. That's what it is. If you get fast tracked in any way, amazing, but that your primary approach is for networking and information gathering. Be assertive and approachable, and take the initiative. Don't be afraid to introduce yourself. Your introduction to the employer. So this is a lot of my students really do think, how do I start the conversation? What do I say? You know, where do I begin? Or maybe they're being asked the same thing all the time and I don't want to sound cliche. Your introduction is a very quick insight into who you are, and it's a great insight for an employer. So keep your introduction short but informative, and tailor it to the company of interest. So, you know, hi, I'm Nolene. I'm at Lancaster University studying and I'm due to graduate. My activities that I get involved in are around clubs and societies in whatever they may be. And I'm really interested in your marketing graduate program, and I want to get a little bit more information if that's possible. I've had some really good marketing experiences through my society, my social media, and through my program. And I'm really interested in your organization because I've seen on Google or online, blah, 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 and make sure it's no more than 90 seconds to 2 minutes. So it's a really brief introduction, and obviously don't forget to ask who they are, but essentially you're giving that kind of insight into who you are. Don't bring up any weaknesses. I enjoy marketing, or I've run a campaign, but it was only for, and that's kind of diminishing your contributions or your skills and your knowledge. So make sure that you only use positive language. And prepare questions to ask. What do you like best about working for your organization? How long have you worked at that organization? Is it something that you've developed your career there, or have you joined from a different organization? Can you give me an idea into what the company culture is like? And what skills are most in demand in your industry? Things that I can work on while I'm studying here at Lancaster. How can I, as a marketing student, or as a HR or engineering student, or computer science or linguistics or social sciences student, stand out from other candidates? And what advice do you have for me in regards to entering the industry? Are there any top tips that you can give me about where to look for information? Or in terms of networking, are there any specific networking platforms I can join, or groups that I can join to build up my knowledge and connections in the sector? So those are the kinds of questions you can ask the recruiter, just to kind of get, don't ask them all the questions, don't take up 15, 20 minutes of their time. A couple of questions per recruiter is enough. You don't want to overwhelm them. You don't want to go in there with a million questions, because they're looking to see other students, not just you. So do be mindful of, the queue behind you or the crowd around you, and make sure that you're not monopolizing that recruiter. Take the opportunity to speak to them. Obviously, give yourself the best chance, but also be mindful of the recruiter's time, because their job is to see as many students as they can. Okay. And how to get your CV right. So if you are bringing your CV to the fair, and it's not that you have to, but I do recommend trying to bring your CV if you can get it created in time, and you do have a couple of weeks before the fair happens. These are just some of the top tips. If I'm handing the CV to an employer, do they want to read this? Is it going to be interesting? Is it something that gives them an insight into who I am? So make sure that you put your CV at arm's length. The reason I say that is that some CVs use font size so small that you find it difficult to read, and edit ruthlessly. If you can get somebody to read it for you and proofread it for you, all the better, because sometimes you can't see your own mistakes. And in addition to that, make sure your columns are lined up, and you've got attention to detail is so important. So formatting is essential. And if you have a CV that is messy, or a CV that is not lined up and it has short sentences, or is just a mess, employers are going to view that as your work ethic. That's how you work, and that's the level of standard that they're going to see from you as a potential employee. Don't, sentences no more than 2 to 3 lines per bullet point. Make sure that you use bullet points. It's not an essay, it's not a statement, it's not a personal statement. Short bullet points. Don't use capitals, because capitals essentially is you shouting at somebody in text format. So if you imagine sending someone a text or a WhatsApp or a WeChat, and you just use capital letters, you are essentially shouting at that person. So avoid using too many. Initial capitals is fine at the start of a word, and that's it. And don't use more than one font. One font throughout the entire document is enough, not 3, 4, 5. And don't change the font colors. So I have seen CVs where it literally looks like a rainbow, and that's amazing. And I love that. And if you're going into the creative sector, amazing. But standard CVs, they may be boring, but they're functional. So make sure that it has one font throughout, and try and use black font, because it's easily printable if the employer wants to print it. A logical structure with clear headings, and get the good stuff on the first page. It makes the recruiter move on. I'm going to ask you to put in the question area, how long do you think a recruiter gives your CV when you hand them a CV or you submit a CV online? How long do you think a recruiter gives you in that CV before they make a decision? So if I'm looking at a CV, how long will I look at that CV for before I make a decision? I've got 30 seconds. Anyone else? 10 seconds. It's getting lower. How long will a recruiter spend looking at your CV before they've made a decision whether to progress your CV, read on with your CV, or reject your CV? 1 to 2 minutes. Okay. I have 2 weeks. I wish we all had 2 weeks, but no, definitely not 2 weeks. Anyone else want to put a quick answer? 30 seconds, 2 minutes. Brilliant. Okay, the answer is 5 to 7 seconds. A recruiter will give your CV 5 to 7 seconds before they will look at your before they decide what to do next. 5 to 7 seconds. And that's why we say bullet point with action verbs at the beginning. So created, led, founded, developed, managed, participated, worked. Those action verbs give a very good insight into your skills. And you have to imagine, if I'm a recruiter, I'm going to scan. I can scan a CV. I used to be a recruiter. I can scan a CV in 8-9 seconds. Maybe not 5, but 8-9 seconds, I'll scan a CV. And I can tell very quickly if that is a generic CV, if somebody made the effort to adapt the CV to my job advert, or if somebody spent any time at all on that CV. And any CV that comes across with loads of spelling mistakes, or it's bad grammar, or the font is different sizes, different fonts, not formatted, reject. So it's very important to give your CV time. You can have a master CV that you use for things like the fair, but if you can tailor a CV, it gives yourself a better chance. I've included a section of, we do have a CV guide at the university that you can access, and I've put the QR code there to get to the CV guide. And this is just a sample of how you would put your education on your CV, and this gives, you don't have to include GCSEs if you're at master's level, but if you're doing your undergrad, you can put that in there. And it's neat, it's to the point, and I can see very quickly what you have done in terms of your CV. In addition to that, where's your evidence? So your education, you know, if you're doing a master's, you have, and this counts for undergraduates as well, you're doing specialist knowledge. You are learning specialist knowledge. Include that in there. There might be a couple of modules or a couple of classes that employers would like to see or is relevant to the industry you're going into and you want to highlight to the employer. Include your current course that you have just started if you're a master's student or an undergraduate. Get that current course, and you can have 2022 to present as your, or predicted end date if it's 2025, 2026, whatever your graduation date is, you can put that in there. Any results, if you had a result at undergraduate level, whether it's 2.1, 2.2 or GPA, if you look online, you can Google what the equivalent GPA is in UK universities. And I mentioned key modules, any soft skills, transferable skills that you may have, or any projects or competitions you've been involved in. And in terms of your experience, employers love to see voluntary work experience, any part-time jobs, internships, and these can include working for your family business or the local shop. All of these give you the skills to work in a professional manner. Work shadowing, being a mentor, whether it was at high school, if you were a prefect, anything like that is what employers are looking for. And also attending events or networking opportunities. If you've met an employer or you've attended an event where you've gained a skill or knowledge or insight or annual lecture, those types of things, that can be really good to put in your application. And if you've had any positions of responsibility, whether it was as part of a team, student societies, in high school, and group work. I know group work is not a favorite of most people, but it can be a really good way to develop those skills, especially around negotiation and teamwork. What you've got through your course alone, and this doesn't include all the extracurricular activities, but obviously the extracurricular activities contribute to building on these skills around teamwork, problem solving, customer service, flexibility, IT literacy. I'm not going to read them all out, but these are the types of skills employers are looking for. And these are the skills that you gain through your academic program, but also through your extracurricular activities and any work experiences you gain at university. And this is what employers want to see on a CV, and this is what employers want to see online as well. Convincing an employer, it's so important to, you know, highlight your skills to employer. This is your marketing document. This is what sells into the company, your skills and your value to that organization. You know, if I'm a marketing assistant, I'm starting each of these bullet points with an action verb: conducted, disseminated, designed, consulted, collaborated. That's what I'm scanning as a recruiter. Those are the things I'm looking for. I'm not looking for you to have built the next search engine that the world is going to engage with. But, you know, a marketing assistant, I could put there, worked as part of a team, looked at some customer insight initiatives, designed some stuff for the department's web pages, looked at putting stuff and presented it to the board. And that's the kind of thing I see more often than not. Somebody just lists a number of tasks that they did, rather than thinking about, what did I do? What did I achieve? What were my achievements as part of this internship or part-time job? So for instance, if I were a server in a restaurant, worked as part of a team, served customers, took orders, delivered orders, I could say worked as part of a team of 10 people from 3 countries, developed strong customer service skills through working in a very high pressured environment, delivering orders in a short time scale, ensuring customer satisfaction through strong communication skills, and ensuring customers evaluated or fed back on service. That's what I want to see as an employer. I want to see, what were your, not just your tasks, what were your achievements as part of the role? What did you gain through those roles? And stress I, not we. They're not hiring your team, they're not hiring your group, they're hiring you. So as much as they want to see team working skills, and you can say we or as a team once or twice, it's not always we. I've done simulation interviews where students are like, we did this, we did that, we did the others. Like, but what did you do? What was your role? And use recent experiences from all parts of your life. Don't use the same experience more than once when talking to an employer at a fair. Try and vary that experience as much as you can. So top tips: dress for the job you want, just dress smart. Don't wear your grubby trainers and a pair of shorts, for instance, if you want to make a good impression, but dress smart. And international students, do not talk about visa sponsorship or hiring, because the person at the fair is not an immigration specialist. You're there to gain information about the organization. If you start talking about visas and sponsorship, that person either doesn't want to talk about it because they don't want to make a mistake and give you the wrong information, or they don't know, they have no idea what the immigration, because they have HR specialists in the company that do that. And also you can find out online if this company has a sponsorship license. It's freely available online. If you look for the license of registered sponsor licenses, you will find that information online, and you will see the register has about 70,000 companies across the UK who have a license to sponsor the skilled worker visa. So do have a look. And they will, and that information is freely available online. So have that information beforehand and avoid talking about visas. Demonstrate passion and motivation by doing your research. Do your research and be commercially aware. If you do the research, your motivation is shown through that. So the more you know about the company, they think, oh, right, they really have made an effort to look beyond our About Us page on the website. They've really taken the time, and they're commercially aware. The biggest feedback we get from companies is that the lack of commercial awareness. So, you know, companies like EY, yeah, they come to the fair and they say, you know, what do you know about us? And they go, oh, well, you're one of the big 4 and you have lots of employees and you're global, but they can't really talk more about the organization. So do your research, show that you're commercially aware. Don't use negative language or offer up weaknesses. So if they don't ask for a weakness, don't give them a weakness. Don't talk about your area of interest if it's not relevant. So if they're, you know, if you're really, really passionate about something, but it's not anything the employer would be engaged with, then don't talk about it. And do take your CV and cover letter if possible, but most importantly, CV to the employer at the fairs or events, if they're having events at their offices as well. And understand what skills you do have and are they transferable? And 9 times out of 10, the skills are transferable. Avoid a weak handshake, try and introduce yourself confidently. Do have some good questions, and we talked about examples of those questions already. And take note of the recruiter's name and business card, but always be polite. If they refuse to give you a business card, just say thank you and walk away. So I just wanted to share some resources. I shared these in my earlier presentation. It's important to use the resources available to you at the university to give yourself the best chance with your career. And those include the careers website with more information about LUMS. You will also find similar information on the careers website for Central Careers, which looks after all international students and other faculties. And within the careers portal, you'll see Career Edge Plus, which is available to students to use to look at your career development. What are your skills? What are your strengths? And how can you develop those further? I mentioned earlier as well, and we have visa sessions coming up at the end of the month. If you haven't already signed up for those sessions, please do sign up for those sessions. Spaces are limited. The Asia Careers Fair is an online fair that's happening in March next year. I will send you all more information. Student Circus is a platform that has all the employer information for UK employers who do sponsor visas, and Higher Ed is another global careers portal. If you want to contact us, you can do so via Careers Connect. You can book appointments, you can access events, including the fair. You do need to register to attend the autumn fair. So please do register on the website and also be able to access all the vacancies, graduate vacancies, placements, and internships. There's also part-time jobs on there as well, so do register. And for students who want to sign up to the International Careers channel, if you haven't already, I do post vacancies and event information from around the world on that Teams channel, so you can sign up there. And just to remind you, this is the information on the autumn fair. You can find lancaster.ac.uk/Careers Connect. And you will see all the information on the autumn fair there with the employers. There's information as well. So when you go on the employer's information, it will say at the bottom of the description, so each employer has a description, and underneath it says if they sponsor visas. So that will help you as well understand which of these employers attending the fair sponsor visas. So going back to one of the questions, is there a specific dress code for the fair? No, but do dress smart. So if you were meeting somebody important, you would make an impression. So dress smart, dress sensibly, as if you were going into the office for the day. It doesn't have to be, so for instance, I'm wearing a cardigan today and just a standard dress with boots. That is fine. I'm not going in trainers and shorts or a t-shirt or in my sweat gear after the gym. Just think about dressing smart for the occasion. There is a law fair that I shared at the start that is going to be happening. So the law panel event you will find on Careers Connect. There is specific events for law students, so do check that out as well. There may be law related organizations coming to the autumn fair. Again, check out the autumn fair on Careers Connect. So I'm a year 1 student. Yes, there's benefit for going to the event if you're year 1 and year 2, because they will have internships, insight weeks, placement opportunities. And it's also a great way to build that initial visibility with the employer, you know, meet and greet the employer, gain as much information as early on as you can, because you can then use that information later on with any applications, whether it's for insight weeks, placements, internships, or graduate opportunities. You mentioned attending an event on your CV. How could this be done? Attending the event I mentioned on your covering letter, not your CV. So your covering letter is where you would mention why that company. So a covering letter is 1 A4 piece of paper. It's letter format, dear sir or madam, and then it has 3 paragraphs. The first paragraph, why that company, why that position. So in that section there, you can address why that company. Well, it was because you met a certain person and what they did in terms of influencing your career decision making by sharing specific information about the organization or giving an insight into the company culture. That just shows that you've gone that extra mile, not just applied to the job, but you've attended events to get more information on the job. The second paragraph is about you. What are you bringing to the organization? And the third paragraph can be used depending on the situation, but can be used to say, thank you, I look forward to hearing from you, yours sincerely, or I'm looking for an opportunity to work in your organization as an intern, or I'm looking for a placement opportunity, or whatever it may be, along with your availability. And then yours sincerely and your name. So it's a professional document. You can bring a covering letter with you to the fair, but that covering letter needs to be tailored to that specific company. So if you have a list of your top 10 companies coming to the fair, take the time to create an individual covering letter for each of them. I said it in my presentation earlier today, it's quality, not quantity. So I've had students apply for just 3 jobs and put really good quality applications together and get a job offer, versus students who've applied for over 100 jobs and haven't given any time really to the application, just send the same letter, the same CV to each job and still come out with no job offer. So it's quality over quantity. I'm having difficulties joining the Teams channel. Any support for this? It shows no Teams channel when I click join. Okay, I'm not really sure why that would be. It might be a case of come out of the whole Teams thing and start it back up again. I am getting an influx of requests to join, and they're being approved when I can do that. So if you haven't already, please do try and join the Teams channel. If you're having difficulties, you can email me. I've emailed you all last Friday and today the events coming up. If you haven't registered for those events, please do. Places are limited, and I will send you another email for next week's events when I have time, which probably towards the end of the week. These emails will be regular. I am a real person, and they're real events and real vacancies, and I'm sending them to you because they're important. So do try and engage with those emails as much as you can. So let me just go back and share those codes again. And yeah, so if you're having issues, do email me, but hopefully those QR codes work. Well, thank you everybody for joining me today. This session has been recorded and we will make it available to you. We are setting up our YouTube channel at the minute, so I will email you as part of the student email with details on how to access any recordings that we have. So thank you for joining me today and have a good rest of the day.